All of the material used in this video belongs to the copyright holder and is being used under fair use. Please don't sue me, for this is for comedic purposes, entertainment purposes, or for the purposes of review. Using copyrighted material like this is covered under the law, and so I am acting within my rights. As a reviewer, I hope you enjoy the show. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Fuck yeah! I love Pokemon variants. I have been talking about Pokemon variants for like the better part of like 2 years now, and have wanted Pokemon variants to be like a fucking thing, and they are a thing. Like, I wasn't gonna talk about Pokemon anymore because honestly the game wasn't changing. You know what I mean? I don't play Pokemon Go. So for me, up until this point, Pokemon was basically exactly the same as Pokemon has ever been. And while I was looking forward to playing Sun and Moon, I was not looking forward to playing Sun and Moon to such a grand extent. It's now a different game. Pokemon, the game, has changed forever. And I'm not just going to talk about the fact that there's an Ice Vulpix or whatever. That's neat. That's really neat. But honestly, what's more neat is the implications for this. What it means for Pokemon. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Okay, so first step, we have to cover the official news. Because before I talk about the implications, like what it means for Pokemon, I have to talk about what the fucking news even is, right? What are Pokemon variants? And what the fuck is going on? So, okay, Pokemon variants, simply put, are when Pokemon change because of environment, breeding, whatever, and become a new type of Pokemon that they weren't previously. And that doesn't just mean elemental type. That means that their form can change and things like that. It's like if you caught a Pokemon in one place and caught a Pokemon in a different place, they'd be different. Like, if you caught, here's an example, a Pidgey in Kanto, and then you caught another Pidgey in Hoenn, the Pidgeys would be different. It's a little bit like the pigeons of Darwin, where you can catch the same animal in different places and you will get pretty different animals. Similarly, Pokemon now have Pokemon variants, which is where you simply get a Pokemon somewhere different and it is fucking different. Okay. Now, before this, there were lots of theorized ways of getting variants. When people would talk about the possibility of variants, they'd say, well, maybe variants should exist because of the way that you breed them. Well, see, that would create too many variants for too many Pokemon. If every Pokemon had different forms based off of you breeding it, that's too many possibilities. I mean, every Pokemon can breed with like 50 fucking Pokemon or so. What is a Werelord Skitty hybrid going to look like? So that's the reason why that form of Pokemon variants probably wasn't in the cards, at least not for all Pokemon. However, this was the form of Pokemon variants that I told everybody was most likely to happen, which is that it would be regional. So basically, catch a Pokemon in one region, it's going to look one way. You catch it in a region that's not its native region, it's going to look differently because it's adapted to that new region. This is fucking awesome news. Okay? This opens up so many fucking possibilities. Earlier this week, it was announced that there was a new Pokemon trailer, and in the new Pokemon trailer, we got variants of Vulpix, Ninetales, Sandshrew, Sandslash, and Execute. All Gen 1 Pokemon, all got a remake, new typings, new abilities. That was basically the news, that certain Pokemon have thrived in the Alola region, and the Alola region is now flourishing with these new variants of old Pokemon. That news blew my fucking mind. Okay, that news blew my fucking mind. So let's talk about what this does for Pokemon, what it means for Pokemon. Because it's not just that these new variants of old Pokemon exist, this fixes a lot of problems. I mean, a lot of problems. So, the first issue it fixes is the issue of originality. So, there's a lot of water turtles. Like, a lot of water turtles, lots of water frogs. There's only so many versions of that you can do. Lots of fire foxes. The reason that there's so many of that is because those designs look iconic, and so they keep doing these designs over and over. But that creates a problem. That creates a huge issue, because what it means is that when you get 900 plus Pokemon, you're copying yourself every generation, more and more and more. It's like this. Every generation there's about, let's say there's 100 Pokemon per generation. Well, every generation there's probably about 25 iconic, good-looking, oh my god, I want it Pokemon. There's about 25 Pokemon that nobody gives a shit about but are functionally good. There's 25 Pokemon that have designs that are meh, right? And 25 Pokemon that look fucking god-awful. This means that only 50% of all Pokemon are ever going to be truly popular, and only 25% of all Pokemon are going to be truly liked. So it's important for them to recycle those favorite designs every generation in order to get the correct buzz going. It's important for them to have Pokemon that people have an emotional attachment to. But when you rip off Pokemon that people already like and you slap a new name on it and you pretend it's a new Pokemon, people don't like that. People don't like it. It feels disingenuous to them to take Pokemon they already like, slap a new name on it, and be like, it's a different Pokemon now, even though you're reusing the same old design. But it's important, given the ratio of good Pokemon to bad Pokemon that there is, for Pokemon to be able to borrow from itself. This creates a less disingenuous version of that. You want to create a cool looking fox with 9 tails? No fucking problem. Just say that it's Vulpix and 9 tails, except it's a new variant because you're in a new region. Perfect. You want to create a new variant of Pikachu? Well, instead of making all the Pikafucks, instead of doing that nobody actually likes, you just create a new Pikachu. This is the new Pikachu for the Unova region or whatever the fuck. So because of that, they're allowed to borrow from themselves now and bring up the ratio of good designs to weak designs. This is a good thing. It also means we'll get to see less new Pokemon per generation. Now you may say, well, that's a bad thing, but actually it's a great thing. If you look at Generation 6, I know a lot of people complain that there weren't a lot of Pokemon, but did you really want more? The truth of the matter is that there were 75 good Pokemon as of Generation 6. In Generation 6, there's 75 new great looking Pokemon. And the reason that was possible is because they didn't make Pokemon that they knew weren't going to work for the game. They didn't pressure themselves to make a shit ton of Pokemon because they already had a shit ton of Pokemon. All of the Pokemon from the previous generations. And now they have a way of making those old Pokemon new again so that you get the same level of excitement as before. Therefore, they've completely fixed the problem. They only have to create 25 to 30 new Pokemon every generation now, and the rest they can just be like, this is the variant of that, this is the variant of that. If you gave every Pokemon a variant for every generation that exists right now, there's 6 generations right now, there's 870 something Pokemon. If you gave every single one of those Pokemon a variant per region, what you would currently do is 6 times 870. That's a huge number. That's in thousands and thousands of Pokemon that are potentially there. If you only did it to the good ones, you would still be in the thousands range, and that's without creating the risk of new Pokemon that people might not like. Now, they're still going to make new Pokemon every generation. New starters, new legendaries, new ghost types, that kind of thing. But it would be cool, you know, for them to not feel the pressure to make a bunch of Pokemon that are just there to fill space, because we need 150 each generation. Here's a better idea. Create 50 new Pokemon that you feel passionately about, that you really want to exist each new generation, and 100 Pokemon that are variants of Pokemon that people already like. That's huge. That honestly is franchise saving. It saves the Pokemon franchise. That's how big of a deal this is. The second major problem that this solves, besides for originality, is the problem of editing. Here's the thing. Pokemon occasionally need to be buffed, debuffed, whatever, and they don't like to edit Pokemon from the way they originally were. Probably because it's hard when you want every generation to be connected. You'd have to patch other generations continuously every single time you want to do an edit of an old Pokemon. Another aspect of this is it's like admitting that they fucked up the first time they made the Pokemon. I can only think of 3 times off the top of my head that they've actually changed a Pokemon design from what they originally had intended it to be. And so, when there is a Pokemon that they just fuck up on, I'm looking at you, Licky Licky and Rhyperior, you ugly sons of bitches. They don't like to just go and fix it. Another problem is, if the Pokemon is really, really powerful, then giving it a Mega Evolution doesn't work. Rhyperior is basically a Mega Evolution of Rhydon, but the concept of Mega Evolution didn't exist yet. So he's just an evolution that's ugly on top of a good design. This is a problem because it takes a Pokemon people like and make it into a Pokemon that people don't really like. People don't really like Rhyperior. People do like Rhydon. How do you fix it? Well, a variant. just create a variant of Rhyperior, and you're done. Just say that when Rhyperior evolves in other regions than the region that he was originally introduced, Rhyperior looks different now. Done. Finished. They can now edit Pokemon, add moves, power-ups, and physical traits that they didn't have before. This allows them to just make Pokemon re-energized in a way that it wasn't. There were so many little edits that they needed to do to so many Pokemon, visually and power-wise, and that's an option now. They don't have to say we fucked up originally. They can just tweak the Pokemon that they want to. It'd be cool to get a variant of all of the evolutions or something, but like what I'm saying is, like, look at Moltres. Look at the legendary birds. They're completely obsolete. They're relevant right now because of Pokemon Go, but they are completely fucking obsolete, okay? But that doesn't have to be the case anymore. Legendaries could have variants too, which means that instead of making a new water bird legendary and people being like, you ripped off Lugia or Articuno, instead of that, they never have to be accused of ripping off anything ever again or repeating themselves with legendaries. They don't have to make new legendaries ever again if they didn't want to. They could just add variants of legendaries that already exist. Think about it. We have legendaries of water, we have legendaries of time, every fucking element and every fucking thing. We never, ever, ever, ever have to make another legendary again for as many different types of legendaries as we have. So it's possible to just create new forms of legendaries based off of this variant system. Because of that, what we can do is solve problems without megas. That's another thing. Some Pokemon were in that in-between state where they wanted to give them new forms, but they couldn't give them an evolution. That was risky. Here, they can take risks. That's thing number 3. They can take risks now. They can take more Pokemon that were okay and turn them into great Pokemon. They can finally take risks. They can finally take risks with Pokemon. So instead of like, okay, we're gonna give this new Pokemon an evolution, half the people are gonna hate that we changed the design, and the other half of the people are gonna love that we improved the Pokemon. Never again. Never again. Instead of doing that, instead of taking that risk, they can do a variant. You don't like the variant? That's fine. The Pokemon is still exactly the way it used to be in another region. So that means that you never have to bitch and moan ever again that they changed one of your favorites, because they didn't change it. It's just a variant. You don't like the variant that you got? That's fine. Catch it elsewhere, you've got it. That means that they can take as many risks as they want. Fire Vulpix isn't fucking going anywhere. If you don't like the Ice Fairy variant, don't fucking sweat it. Vulpix still exists. This is fucking great. Don't like the new Executor? Think it looks derpy? Fine. Get it your own fucking Executor from another region, trade it over, you're still good, you're still fine. Soak up some of that Alolan Sun, but it won't turn into the fucking new variant version, and you can just kick the new variant version's ass and just be like, ha ha ha, my original version is better. I mean, it's great. This is great, okay? This, honestly, I stand by me saying that this is franchise saving. There's so many cool things about this. And that's just the problems this fixes. That's not even talking about the cool new shit that this adds to the game. So just keep in mind, I'm not going to go into everything about what this means, but just keep in mind that the impact of this is huge, huge. It's much different than there just being an Ice Fairy, Ninetales, or a Derperior Executor. No, no, no. This is bigger than all of that, because this changes everything. Keep that in mind when looking at variants in the future. That every variant there is changes Pokemon from now on. With that, this is Dr. Making Stuff signing out.